Welcome to this edition of Upcycling with Deb. I'm your host, Deb Colameta. This is an episode that's part of a special series, a DEBinar course on my #1 best-selling book, Best Offer, Best Life. It's kind of a Deb's deeper dive into the topics that are covered in Best Offer, Best Life. So thank you for joining us. This is the week 2 lecture for the DEBinar. So congratulations. If you've clicked on this link, that means statistically speaking, most people who purchase or sign up for classes, I forget the actual rate, but it's something like over 95% of people who sign up or join a class or even purchase a class actually don't even open the class. So if you've gotten this far, that means that you are really committed to having a lighter space. You're focused on that end result of having a space that feels less cluttered and purged and clean, and a place that you can feel proud of. Hopefully at this point, you've already watched the overview lecture for the course and the week 1 lecture where we talk about different strategies for purging your house and cleaning, what tools and resources are available to you. And I gave loads of links within the course materials for you to check out. This week, we're going to focus on selling the items that you purged out of your space last week. One thing that I want to point out, this is something that I touch on with all of my seminars in person. And anytime I talk to somebody who's read my book and they start talking to me about the items that they want to sell, don't overwhelm yourself. It's important to focus on a couple of items to sell rather than purging your house, seeing a big pile of things that are supposed to be leaving your space and getting flustered and overwhelmed because you think, how can I possibly sell all this stuff? Just look at a couple of items that are the most valuable and the things that have the widest appeal. And that way you'll have a little bit of selling success to start, and you'll get traction in this new frontier for you. You don't want to start with something that's very difficult for even, an online selling expert like me to sell, which is clothing or books, anything like that. You're not going to get a huge return on that investment. If you have a working appliance or a small appliance, you might want to start there. Try to focus on something that you know has a really good value, something that maybe you never used, and something that you feel comfortable letting exit your space at a lower price. Don't be tied to getting back what you paid for. That is probably not going to happen. Only on a few specialty items does that happen. So try to target an item that you know you're going to have success selling for this week as part of your homework. Another part of your homework for this week is to read some chapters in the book, Best Offer, Best Life. I really tried my best to lay it out in a very clear manner. I give you tips for where and when to sell what items and pricing formulas to help you kind of figure out a target number for what you're going to be trying to sell. I mean, it would take me hours to talk to you about that through a lecture. It's definitely easiest if you read it, or if you have the Kindle version, you might be able to have the Kindle book read it to you. And the book is also available for purchase as an audio book as well. So there's really no way around it. It's quick reading. I'm asking you to read chapters 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry, couldn't help myself. But those are the chapters that cover selling in greater detail. So I would ask that you either read those or listen to those. Remember, with online yard sales, you have to just take the time, a couple of minutes, and post the ad. An ad can be posted in under a minute. So for people who say, I don't really have time to do that, if you target an item that has a good return on investment, ROI, and like, say, for example, you want to target a blender and you paid a lot of money for it, but you didn't really use it. Well, could be that somebody's looking for a blender and they're looking to get a good deal on a blender. So you're not going to sell it if you don't post it. Be sure that you snap a few pictures, write up some quick copy, slap a price on it, and go on about your day. You don't have to make a federal production out of selling some things online. That said, it does get a little time consuming. Even setting up a time to get friends to pick up things that you're giving to them or coordinating a play date so you can exchange some items. Yeah, it does take a little bit of time. But you know what? It also took time to bring the stuff into your space. So this is kind of a way you're training yourself mentally to not bring it into your house in the first place so that you won't have to get rid of it. I mean, there's some things, obviously, kids' clothing, your own clothing, you have to change over things and bring new things into your house. But if you kind of punish yourself a little bit in a way, that's how you're going to learn not to bring in loads and loads of stuff in the first place. That is an important step in this process, to know that the stuff eats up space and it eats up your time. Junk is time consuming. There's no way around it. So either you spend a little bit of time up front selling it and getting rid of it, donating it, getting it out of your space, or you spend a lot more time moving it, storing it, dusting it, then it doesn't work anymore, or it's out of style or out of date. Just get it out of your space. Another thing that's available to people who have purchased the book, Best Offer, Best Life, and this is something that I did mention in the book, I offer my template, my very own template for selling items. So you can look at a document that has several of my sample ads. This is a document that I use personally. So anytime I have to sell something, a piece of furniture, a small appliance, a specialty kitchen item, I go to this particular document for wording inspiration. So you can look at that and don't get overwhelmed. Again, you don't have to get fancy with your ad copy on posting something online, but it is a way for you to copy and paste some of my text, tweak it so that it applies appropriately to your item, and then you just copy and paste it and put it into the ad, take a few pictures, and it's posted, and you can go on about your business for the day. I've tried to do everything for you except write the ad myself. A couple of highlights from the chapters that have been assigned this week. You have to think about where you're going to sell your item. For me, Facebook has been a game changer. I have used apps with some success, definitely, especially for higher priced items or specialty items. Apps like Let Go, OfferUp, they don't cost anything to join, so you might as well create a login. It only takes a couple of minutes to set up, and you can do it all from your phone. Very easy to use. However, as I've outlined in the book, there are a number of reasons why Facebook is where I typically close more sales. I post to different yard sale groups within Facebook, and when I sell something or even arrange to give something to somebody, if I see that we have a couple of friends in common, I know that they're a real person. There's that unspoken rule that if they stand me up, I could go back to one of those mutual connections and badmouth them, which I really haven't had to do. But the mutual friend is the unspoken watchdog of the sale. And also, as far as safety is concerned, you want to make sure that this is a real person with a legitimate profile. And still, you cannot be too careful. So if you're meeting someone that you don't know, and you're exchanging cash, you want to be sure to go and meet them at the police station if possible, park out front of the police station. If they hear that you want to meet them at the police station and they're scared off by that, you don't want to meet them at your house. So that's one thing that I would recommend, is that you sell on one of the social media sites, and that way you can check them out as a person. You don't have that luxury when you use an app. You have a wider audience, but you don't know. It could be somebody who is just bored and they're responding to your ad and they're clicking a pre-populated bubble that says, yes, I am interested. Yes, I will meet you tomorrow. And then they have no intention of meeting with you. You've cleared time out of your schedule. You get stood up. It's disappointing. You've already spent the money they were supposed to give you. I mean, it just snowballs into an unpleasant experience. So for me, I do find that if I haven't sold something on Facebook, I do find that I have decent enough luck on the anonymous apps, but I do tend to use Facebook as my go-to. Another thing to detail about Facebook is that there's Facebook online yard sales, and then there's Facebook Marketplace. It's a little bit different, and sometimes people confuse the two. An online yard sale is something that you have to request to join, and you are admitted to the group for the most part. They usually have a set of rules to follow. It's typically set up by topic or geography, topic like furniture, or geography like your hometown or the surrounding towns near you. But Facebook Marketplace is a little bit different because many times when you post to Facebook Marketplace, all of your friends and family who are Facebook friends will see what you're posting. So maybe that's okay. Maybe you want to cast the net wide. You want to let your friends and family know if you are selling a particular item. But if you're selling a gift that one of your friends or family got you, you might want to stay away from Facebook Marketplace. Also, I like to work within the groups I target where I'm selling. I personally don't want to flood my friends' news feeds with the stuff that I'm selling, and I like to target market based on the community in which I want to sell. I'd also recommend that if you were trying to give something away, why don't you just start with your group of friends? Hey, anybody need this particular baby gear, or anybody need these toys that my kids have outgrown that maybe it's not even worth my time selling? I can gather them up and give them to friends. I love doing that. I love spreading the goodwill and getting the stuff out of my house. In chapter 7, I go through a lot of the ground rules and etiquette surrounding online yard sales. I'm advising you to take cash or Venmo or another online payment form, and to stay away from checks, because checks typically are bad news. We're not sure if they're worth the paper that they're written on. So, especially if you don't know somebody, I would not advise taking a check. Another benefit to purging and maybe online selling or donating things is that you're creating space in your life for new things. You might feel like, oh, we need to buy a bigger house because we have things and we're stuffed to the gills here with junk and toys and books and everything. But another reason why it's great to have a house that's freshly cleaned and purged is that mentally it allows you to bring in new things into your life, new opportunities. If you look around and you're sending the signal out to the universe that you already have too much stuff, you don't even have space for the stuff you already have, that's not a good message to put out there. It's not a good vibe. So when you think about the life that you want to live and the environment in which you want to exist in your family, where you want to raise your family, think about that lighter feeling as a way to get to your best life. How can you meditate if you're sitting amongst junk? You're sending out that good vibe that you're giving. You have so much abundance. What a great first world problem this is to have. We have items that are in storage that are working and that nobody's using. So by sending out that vibe, I have more than enough stuff. I can give it away for free. You're getting it out of your space. That is the goal. Your house will feel cleaner. You'll feel lighter, and you're also giving back. You're almost tithing your income because you probably spent money on the items that you're sending out there. And now by donating it or selling it at a fraction of the cost, you're putting that good intention out there into the universe. So not to get too whooshy goochie on you, but I do believe that that's very important as a vision. This isn't just about clutter and stuff. This is about freeing yourself mentally and physically from your stuff. I also mentioned in a previous lecture about how when my kids have too many toys, it's almost like they have sensory overload and they don't know what to play with first. So they end up playing with a string for hours on end. I always tell the story about a few Christmases ago when my son found a bouncy ball that my husband had when he was a little kid, and he literally was tripping over his giant pile of toys from Santa as he bounced this ball against the wall like 100 times that Christmas break. And most of the toys went unused, unopened, and we have them in a pile for a rainy day, and we can pull them out when he wants a treat or a prize, and we can pull from that stash. But other than that, he doesn't really use them. So kids don't need much when it comes to toys, and they almost it's like a bell curve of toys. They almost get overloaded when they have too many options. They don't know what to pick. And then I thought about it after I said that, and I realized actually grown-ups are like that too. Sometimes when you have too many clothes in your closet, you feel like you're overwhelmed, you don't know what to pick, and you end up falling back on the same 5 or 6 items in rotation until they get cleaned out of the laundry. So it's like that with clothing. It can be like that with kitchen utensils. I did go through my stuff and I did a really good job of purging, and still I have a drawer full of kitchen utensils, and I was cleaning it out, doing my annual purging of the kitchen stuff, and I looked and I'm like, I didn't use any of these cheese cutters or specialty chopping boards, not a one of them. I didn't remember we had them, or I was in too much of a rush to pull them out. So when you have too much stuff, you end up using less of it anyway. So try to just pare down, and then you don't have to worry about organizing it, storing it, and then you have room for the items you actually do need. So rather than using your cabinets and drawers as like permanent storage, you can remove the items from your counter and put them into the drawers in an accessible place, and then your countertops look and feel lighter. So as you go along with your purging and doing your assignments for the week, remember that I've included a Deb's Deeper Dive list. And the point of that is to give you some ideas on some things that you can do or clean to get yourself extra check marks, because we're doing a little tally of how many check marks you can earn each week. So there are a few ideas for projects you can do, but of course there's no purging police, so you can pick any project that works for your house and give yourself an extra 10 check marks on me. So try to do a Deb's Deeper Dive purging list item if you can to earn more check marks. One thing that can be a barrier for people is pricing. I have a detailed pricing formula in chapter 8 of my book, Best Offer, Best Life. And I feel like that's a really good starting point for people. One of the biggest mistakes I see when I see friends posting things online is that the price is too high. And once you've gotten that set of eyes on it, a prospective buyer, they might be interested in it, but you got to slap a price on that that is going to inspire them to take action and move on it. If you're starting and it's a little bit too high, it's going to be a turnoff to people. So go as low as you can and use my pricing formula as a guide. It's easy when you're looking at it on the page, so I encourage you to take a look at that as well. So for this week, remember to target some of the items, keep up with your purging, and read the chapters in Best Offer, Best Life. So that concludes the lecture for week 2, Sell Your Stuff. My name is Deb Colameta. This is the DEBinar for Best Offer, Best Life on Upcycling with Deb. You can reach me on Instagram and Twitter at Deb Colameta, or go to the website, www.thedebsite.com. Be sure to sign up for the DEBinars today, and that way you can access the links and the items that I recommend, and the syllabus and the assignments, and all the printables and bonus materials available to you by going to the website, thedebsite.com. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.